And good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I'm Ben Singer in the WSAV studios. We want to give you the latest on COVID-19. We have an update at this hour from Beaufort County officials, and Sheriff P.J. Tanner is at the mic right now. We want to listen in.
At some point, she's got comments that she would like to make, and then we would like for you to consider asking Mayor Salka what questions you have for her at that time, because we can mute and unmute the folks that need to be talking instead of people talking over each other. So if you make that or have that a consideration, we'd appreciate it. First thing I want to do today before we go to our mayors, we have been asking our citizens in Beaufort County to do a lot over the past 2 weeks. The governor's executive order has been in play now for several days, almost a couple of weeks now, and then a part of that order, of course, are some requests and demands on what our citizens need to do in the pandemic of COVID-19. I can tell you that based on our deputies and our law enforcement throughout the county, our fire and EMS, and citizens in general, I can tell you that things that we have been asking our citizens to do, y'all have done a fantastic job. And I know it's been an inconvenience. I know our children are home from school, and a lot of you are out of work because your business is closed. And I know there are a lot of concerns on your mind about how much longer this moves forward. We've got some folks from Beaufort Memorial Hospital here with us today as well, and they're going to be they'll be talking and providing some information. But I just want our citizens to know from us that y'all have done a great job, and we appreciate what you've done so far. But you also need to know that we're not out of the woods yet. So there's going to be a lot that we'll continue to ask of you, and we'll need more help as we move forward. We please ask you to continue to stay focused on social distancing, washing your hands, and keeping your hands out of your face. Law enforcement continues to work. Law enforcement will continue to enforce the governor's executive order. We'll do that with common sense and a lot of discretion. During the time of a state of emergency, I wear two hats. One hat is performing my duties as the county sheriff, and the other hat is working for the governor under an executive order, making sure that his order is carried out not only by staff but by the citizens of the county. And lastly, before we move to our guests that are on Zoom, we cannot say enough and thank our doctors, nurses, and medical providers in Beaufort County for the work that they have done, knowing that there's more work to be performed over the next couple of weeks. I think they've done a fantastic job. They haven't been overwhelmed, but it's been quite a challenge before them. So having said that, and then we'll have questions for me at the end, if you would. Stephanie, if we could go to Mayor Salka.
Thank you, Sheriff, so much, and thank you for doing these press conferences. It really gives comfort to our citizens. I'm going to be quick because you have so much to cover. We had a Facebook Live today with Chief Chapman and Mark Orlando, our town manager, and really kind of put out what we're doing with Town Hall. Still business as usual, just a little more curbside takeout Town Hall than normal. We are absolutely supporting the governor in his social distancing, to the point, and your suggestion, passing a proclamation instead of other ordinance or resolution supporting that social distancing, and really getting the word out and educating on that end. We have, as towns, asked the governor and told him we would support a shelter in place if he so chose to do so, and I hope he knows we've got his back on that. But until then, we're going to continue to reinforce his orders. Just stay on our social media pages if you want information for Bluffton. And again, thank you and your officers and our PD and first responders and medical help for putting themselves on the front lines of this. And I'm with you, it's not over. So how do we get through That's all I have, and I'd look for any questions. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for Mayor Salka? I'm sure you'll have one, and we can always come back to that at some point. Mayor McCann.
Sheriff, good afternoon. Thank you for putting this all together. At this time, I would like to say that visitors are encouraged not to visit Hilton Head Island. There will be another time, time to come visit us. I'd also like to mention that everybody should treat everybody they come into as that person having the virus. If you look around and everybody you meet, that person could be a carrier. You should practice social distancing. You should be very careful as if the person was a carrier along the way. And with that, everybody, one of the main reasons why this is a great place is you can see in a bad time like this, everybody is working together, pitching in together. It's a great place to live. Come visit us at a later date. Thank you.
Any questions for Mayor McCann? Mayor Kaiserling.
Thank you, Sheriff. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the mayors and county council and everybody for the daily cooperation and for their leadership. I think my main message is yes, I think people are beginning to listen. I don't think we're going to see what we saw in the sandbar, but we can always do more. I think that we tend to focus so much on what the hospitals and the medical community can do, and we need to look in the mirror and realize that we, the citizens, have the power to stop the spread, and that is following the rules that the governor's asked us to do, that you've asked us to do, that we're asking our people to do. And we need to keep up the good work and stay diligent. I'd also like to just tell people that the Beaufort Interfaith Council, along was supported by, of course, you and the mayors, are going to do over the Beaufort Channel, thank you, a religious, an interdenominational service on Sunday at 11 and also on Sunday at 6 p.m. It will also be made available on YouTube for those churches that will be doing their own social media and broadcasts. So thank everybody, but I can't urge. I've been thinking all day, do I cut off my beard as a symbol that I'm not supposed to touch my face? Because I'm telling everybody else to do it. And I saw when the governor saw himself touching his face the other day, he was reminded that we've got to be just that careful. So thank you all.
Any questions for Mayor Kaiserling? Mayor DeVito.
Good afternoon, and thank you again, Sheriff, as the rest of us, for putting this on and organizing it, in the county channel for getting this information out. I also want to thank the town of Port Royal, the staff and their first responders for what they're doing, the citizens and all of Beaufort County citizens, because we are doing a lot to resolve this issue and to stop the spread, but we have to do more. Like Mayor Kaiserling has said, there's more to be done. Like the sheriff said, there's more to be done. We have to pay attention to the social distancing and keep moving along. There is a new norm. I heard it in the earlier conversations. The way we used to shake hands is going to be unusual if it ever comes back. We've got to remember these things. We can do a lot to resolve this issue, and we've got to keep going. And I'm sorry it's a little bit difficult, but we will get through this. We are a strong community, we are strong neighborhoods, and we are strong towns. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Is Mayor Moore? Is Mayor Moore on? Okay. Chairman of County Council, Joe Passament.
Yes, good afternoon, Sheriff and everyone participating and everyone looking at us. If you are looking at us, you are doing exactly what we'd like you to do. You are someplace, preferably at home. As you can see in the background, I am in my house. It's unusual times. It's an unusual way to conduct business. County Council is very supportive of what the sheriff is doing, what we have to do as a community to resolve this issue. We're in constant contact with each other. I reach out to individual council members because they represent segments of our community, and I need to know what is happening in their particular area. Our county administrator is desperately trying to have the county operations as usual in these unprecedented times. So all I can reiterate is we need to keep doing what we're doing. We need to have that social distancing. We need to support each other and our first responders. I happened to be at Hilton Head Hospital at 6 a.m. this morning, not because of a need that I had, but because of a need my wife had, who had her knee replaced today. A normal procedure, but the county, that Hilton Head Hospital had several items in place to protect everyone. It was a wonderful thing. Thank you.
County Administrator Ashley Jacobs.
Thank you, Sheriff Tanner. As Chairman Passman said, the county is operating under normal business hours, and we are fully functional. We have a lot of people working from home and working via telephone and email, but we are trying to keep business going. And we do want to encourage everyone to stay home, though, as much as possible. Even though you see that I'm here in my office, I'm meeting with all of my staff virtually. We meet through Zoom, or we talk on the phone or through email. And I'm trying to also avoid contact as much as possible. But we do want to encourage everyone to continue social distancing and staying home when you can. But thank you to everyone who has done that. And I want to let our first responders know that you are a priority for us, and we're doing everything we can to get priority testing and to get information that will help you be safe on your job. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent Frank Rodriguez, Beaufort County School District.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I want to first start and share with you how incredibly proud I am of our Beaufort County School District staff and personnel for the manner in which we've been able to respond during this time. I want to share with you that, as you know, the governor has closed schools in South Carolina through April 30th, and we have planned ahead, and we continue to prepare for something like this. And so we have academic lessons planned that our teachers have worked on. So academic instruction will continue through online instruction, as well as learning packets that we provide for our students. We trained over 1,000 teachers last week or the week before on online Zoom courses, and so they're able to provide instruction through Zoom, and that's been going exceptionally well for our school and our students. We're continuing to meet the needs of our students as well with meal distributions that we have ongoing. We do those every day. We're averaging over 7,000 meals that we distribute each day, and at the moment we should probably cross the 50,000 mark at the end of the day today with meal distributions. This has really worked well. Last week, this week, we adjusted to one distribution window from 9 through 12, and that has worked well because our families only have to come one time. They don't have to come for breakfast and for lunch. They could come one time and receive both meals. So teamwork is what the Beaufort County School District is all about. I know that's what our community is all about, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today.
We have the CEO of Beaufort Memorial Hospital, Russell Baxley, and he's has a guest with him as well. Thank you, Russell.
Thank you, Sheriff. I want to introduce Dr. Kurt Gamla, who will join me up here at the podium. He is our Chief Medical Officer and is here to also speak to what the hospital is currently doing to prepare not only today, but what is an expected surge down the road. So first, let me thank everyone at the hospital, the 1,500 strong, all the way from the physicians, nurses, respiratory therapists, to our housekeepers and dietary aides who have been working tirelessly the last 2 weeks to prepare for the COVID-19 crisis. And we feel today that we are in a very good place to respond to this crisis should we see the surge that the state has predicted. I'd like to go into some of the things that we have done leading up to this point, and also speak a little bit to what we're able to do should we see a surge in COVID-19 patients. One of the first things we did at Beaufort Memorial was impose visitor restrictions, and those have escalated as this crisis has escalated. They are extreme at this point, but the extreme measures are being taken to protect both our staff and the patients themselves, where we are limiting to almost no visitors except in special circumstances, such as a legal guardian of a child or end-of-life measures or other special exceptions. We have also imposed visitor restrictions on our physician clinics and waiting rooms as well, trying to keep all of our waiting rooms free and clear of patients practicing social distancing. We have put together telemedicine and made that free for COVID-19 patients. On our BMH Care Anywhere app, we have put together a COVID-19 practice that if you are experiencing respiratory-like symptoms, we will waive that visit fee and make sure you get to the appropriate location for testing. We have also started to push all of our 100-strong providers in our Beaufort Physician Partners practices to doing almost 100% telemedicine, making sure that our patients still have access to their providers for scheduled visits, whether it be routine or annual checkups, but from the comforts of their home, again, practicing that social distancing, making sure that we're available, but able to do that from our offices. Our express care locations, in the last 2 years, we have stood up 2 urgent cares, and those express care locations have been available 7 days a week for on-site testing for respiratory symptoms and for COVID-19, and they have seen an influx of patients to those practices where we have tested those patients and sent them home. You may have noticed our chipmobile sitting in front of our Beaufort administrative building. We stood that up almost 2 weeks ago for mobile testing, alternative care site, where any provider could order a test for their patient. They could drive up, stay in their car, protecting them and our staff, and we would swab them and send their test off as well. Again, just another innovation that we stood up in order to protect community spread as well as our employees. Most recently, we set up 2 very large ER tents in front of the hospital, or 2 very large camo tan tents in front of the hospital. This is not because we are overwhelmed right now. This is to continue to address the patients that are coming in and experience respiratory symptoms. One of our major concerns are keeping the healthy population, so to speak, in the ER away from those experiencing respiratory symptoms. We stood those tents up to expand testing capacity. Also, they are climate controlled, and as it heats up, we want to make sure not only the patients are comfortable when they're at this alternative testing site, but also our employees are comfortable at this alternative testing site. We appreciate the EOC and the state and the Charleston Fire Department that brought this to us and helped us set this up. It's been a welcomed addition for our ER providers and staff and the patients as we continue to test for the virus. In terms of surge capacity, we've been getting a lot of questions about what happens if there's a surge of infected patients that need to be admitted in the hospital. What I can tell you is that the hospital is prepared as it's going to be for a surge of patients. We have at our disposal 29 vents that we can stand up. We have all the vents that we typically have in our ICU, as well as other ventilators that are used throughout different parts of the hospital. We are cross-training nurses and other providers to respond to this crisis. We have a lot of well-trained critical care nurses. Should we have to run all 29 ventilators, we are cross-training other nurses to work in a team and tandem approach with those critical care trained nurses to serve the patients. We are working with our medical staff. We've, for the longest time now, had 24/7 critical care intensivists that were manning our ICU. We are working with a number of our other medical staff in a team approach to support those intensivists should we see a surge in vented patients. We continue to look at ways to expand outside the ICU. If you look at our website or you look at the state health plan, we have 12 ICU beds, but we can expand and have looked to expand and could expand outside of the ICU to turn other rooms and areas of our hospital into an ICU environment. That could include med-surg rooms and or even using our recovery area in the ORs. Lastly, a lot of people have been asking about test results and turnaround times. We continue to work with the state and reference labs as it relates to getting testing and results back. What I would tell you is we are seeing from the state around a 4 to 5 day turnaround time, from the reference labs around a 7 to 8 day turnaround time. We've been working tirelessly to try to stand up our own in-house testing. We have run into certain situations where a lot of the test kits that we wanted to come to Beaufort Memorial have been diverted to the hardest hit states, And as all things go, medical supplies, everything is in short supply. And so we are working with new vendors now and hope to have in-house testing at Beaufort Memorial stood up hopefully in the next 4 to 5 weeks. So in closing, and I'm available for questions based on the sheriff's direction, but I would just echo what the sheriff and the mayors and the chairman has said, is that continue to practice social distancing. We are very well prepared at Beaufort Memorial for whatever comes our way, but we hope that that's all that is good planning and preparedness. We hope that we don't have to do what I just explained we're prepared to do. We hope that if we are able to social distance, if we are able to bend the curve and continue on this current trajectory, it will not only save your lives, but it will save possibly healthcare providers' lives as well, that we sit here on the front lines. So please, please heed the warnings, socially distance, and let's make this, make it through this together. Thank you, Sheriff.
All right. Good afternoon. I think Mr. Baxley covered the high points of what we're doing at the hospital. And, you know, we talk a lot about our technology, our equipment, our procedures, but I want to reemphasize, I think our most valuable asset is our people. We have an incredibly talented, dedicated, resilient medical staff, and not just medical staff, but all our APPs, our nursing, and all of our support services. They've done incredible things with us. They've been collaborative. They've been flexible. They've been innovative. We've seen this with hurricanes in the past, and now we're seeing this with COVID. And so as we continue to work with them, we just appreciate our people, and we think that's going to be our best weapon against this thing. Thanks.
Colonel Bex. Good afternoon, everyone. One of the largest problems facing everyone in the state is the availability of PPE, personal protective equipment, whether it's Beaufort Memorial Hospital or the county EMSs or the fire department, whoever. So the first step, obviously, is to reach out to the vendors, and we found out very quickly that the vendors could not meet the supply needs because we're all in an on-time delivery business model now, and once the surge started occurring where everyone needed this stuff, no one could get it quick enough. So the Strategic National Stockpile was tapped. Each state received an allocation based on criteria that FEMA put forth, and South Carolina received its first allocation last week. It was routed into the state warehouses outside of Columbia and then divvied up by county based on population. Beaufort County received its first allocation last Friday, and that equipment was divided among the fire departments, the law enforcement agencies, and Beaufort County EMS based on their needs. The medical facilities throughout the county, the private medical facilities, were continuing to try and are continuing to try to find it through their vendors. If they are unable, they are then placing a request through emergency management, and we're forwarding that request to the state. We've had a number of agencies do that. We today received our second allocation from the SNS, and it arrived this morning at approximately 10 o'clock, and we took that. It was slightly smaller than we got last Friday, and we divided that among the private medical entities that had already requested from us. And we've continued to receive requests as recently as just a couple of hours ago from a private medical entity, and those have been forwarded up to the state. We do not know if we'll get a third SNS drop or not, but the state is working very hard with the vendors, and the supply chain is beginning to catch up. We're still looking at 7 to 10 days delivery time after it's ordered. So we're looking sometime late next week or possibly into the week after before the supply chain will begin to arrive in South Carolina, and then it will be divvied up again according to the requests that have been put in. And so we're moving forward on that, and everybody is working hard to use their supplies as carefully and efficiently as possible. We want to talk, Mayor Kaiserling briefly mentioned the churches, and we want to touch on that. We have compiled a list, and it's probably not a complete list, but we quickly went out through the websites of the various churches to try and find out who was doing services on Sunday online. And I do want to touch, just to reiterate this information as many places as possible: Community Bible, St. Gregory the Great, Low Country Community, the Church of the Cross, Cornerstone in Bluffton, the Parish Church of St. Helena, the Baptist Church of Beaufort, my folks, the Tidal Creek, Decibel Church, St. John's Lutheran, Live Oak Christian, and Church of the Palms will all be doing their normally scheduled services online Sunday morning. At whatever times they normally do them, they'll be online Sunday. And if they do Sunday evening or Wednesdays, those will be online also. So please be sure to take part in those services. The state parks. Hunting Island has gone through several changes this week. They were closed Wednesday and Thursday. They're open today. When they close at 8 o'clock tonight, they will be closed for the foreseeable future. They are announcing right now through April 30th. That could be extended. Those that are in the campground right now will be allowed to finish out their reservations. However, effective Saturday morning, there will be no new reservations accepted, no one allowed into the campground, and all reservation fees will be refunded. This, again, this will continue through April 30th, so starting tonight it's 8 o'clock when they close, Hunting Island will be closed. One of the other concerns that we have had in the emergency management field are support agencies such as Help of Beaufort, Low Country Food Bank, and those folks. We have been in contact with them. Right now they are good. However, they live off donations, so please don't forget them. And if you've got an opportunity to help them out, because they do help a significant portion of our population here in Beaufort County, and we'll stay in touch with them to see what we can do to continue to help their efforts. And finally, the Red Cross is in desperate need of blood. Obviously, the stay-at-home situation and the social distancing has affected their supplies. And so if you're in a position, if you can contact the Red Cross chapter, find out what their protocols are for getting blood, please help them out with donations. That's all I have, Sheriff.
All right, questions. We can use Zoom to try to get an answer for you, and of course we have our guest here. So any questions by anyone here?
Sheriff, for you, the town of Hilton Head is looking to potentially set in their own shelter-in-place order as of potentially Monday if the governor has not made that decision. What's the sheriff's department, road sheriff's office role in that, and what is your feeling about a shelter-in-place order for all of Beaufort County or for different municipalities?
Well, I know there's been a lot of discussion. I've been on dozens of conference calls over the past couple of days about that same subject. I'm in a kind of a different position because when the order came from the governor and the executive order was issued under a state of emergency, I worked directly for him. So it's my job to enforce his laws, and his laws are spelled out in the executive order. You can't, you know, he's very clear in the order as well that those cities, towns, and counties that have a desire to create an ordinance, it will not be enforceable because it can't have any conflict with the governor's, executive order. So we've encouraged here locally in the county and the municipalities to do all that they can do, and the governor has asked all of our mayors and our county administrators to be thinking about what you can do to help your community and do everything you possibly can to carry that out. But at the same time, let's don't start creating municipal laws and county laws that will conflict with the executive order, because the enforcement of that executive order is my responsibility to include all law enforcement within South Carolina. So that includes Bluffton Police and Beaufort Police and Port Royal and Yamasee. So I have answered their questions as best that I can and provided whatever insight that I could provide. I think there's a lot that the municipalities can do to get the word out. They can do proclamations to make sure that certain things are done with short-term rentals, hotel reservations, all of those things they can do. They're doing it in Myrtle Beach. I had a long conversation this morning with Sheriff Thompson in Horry County. It's encouraging to see some of the things that they are doing in Myrtle Beach, and I shared that with Steve Riley today as well because of issues concerning the beach on Hilton Head. So there are a lot of things that the municipal and county governments can do here in the county, and I think they're looking at those opportunities, and they'll probably be addressing those over the next few days.
for the, I know you put it out before, but maybe in this format, to people who don't want to follow those rules, who may be trying to gather too many, whether it's on a sandbar or a beach or anywhere else, what is your response to what they're going to do and what could happen to them?
Well, the executive order, covers, it looks like I was prepared for you because I've got exactly what you're asking me for, but the executive order covers the statutes that we use in this situation, and the statute is very clear, but the governor has also asked that we utilize a lot of discretion and common sense in the enforcement of this law, which we are doing. And we do have some in the county that have pushed the envelope to an extent, and we've issued warning tickets for those. We have yet, and I checked, and I spoke with Chris Chapman and Matt Clancy in Allen Beach this morning. The only thing that has been issued by law enforcement has been warning tickets. There has been no ticket issued for a violation other than the warnings that have been issued and the verbal warnings on top of that. So we have a lot of compliance. We haven't run into anyone that has refused to disperse once they've been approached. I know on the beaches on Hilton Head, I know that the public beaches are closed, but the private communities and the gated communities, of course, have access to the beach. And you have areas like Palmetto Dunes and Sea Pines and Shipyard and those areas. There are a lot of people on the beach. So from a distance, from our beach patrol officers that are on the beach, from a distance, riding down the beach, looking ahead, it looks like a large group of people that have gathered in front of, say, in Sea Pines and South Beach. But when you get among them, you see that they're very separated, and there's really it's not a concern at that point. So we're enforcing the statute under the executive order, and other than a few warning tickets, citizens have been doing a fantastic job. Oh, repeat the question? Repeating the question on this or every one? Okay, we'll do it. Hopefully my answer kind of included the question. What else?
There's nothing you can do about the Sea Pines Beach and these private beaches that may be putting people out there, or the hotels who are telling people that they have a beach to go to?
We're not seeing a violation. The town of Hilton Head closed its beaches because they control the parking for those public beach access points. So that was their decision to do so, and that's fine. So that kind of sends a message, and I think Mayor McCann said it earlier. The town of Hilton Head is still here. We're just not open for visitors, and I think that's kind of the approach on that part. But if you're not gathered either or three or more, and if there's something we need to do to disperse that grouping, then we're doing it. But if you're the distance that you and I are in this room, and we happen to be on the same beach, where our beach patrol guys are not concerning themselves with that particular situation. So we understand that the beaches are a healthy place to be during a pandemic such as this. It's cleansing of the soul, it's peace of mind. As long as they're not grouped up and doing things they shouldn't do, and they're keeping a good distance from each other, we're going to let them, walk on the beach and do the things they need to be doing. So right now we're in good shape. Questions?
And that is the latest from the briefing in Beaufort County this afternoon. That is Sheriff P.J. Tanner answering some questions for us today. We also heard from several of the mayors of Beaufort County today, which is the first time we've been able to do that in sort of that Zoom meeting fashion. So the sheriff most recently was answering those questions relating to how enforcement of the disbursement order has been going on Hilton Head Island specifically when it comes to the private communities versus the public beaches. And we know now that they have issued some warning tickets to people who maybe were gathered in too big a group. But for the most part, he is reporting compliance with that order from the state government. So we heard from Mayor McCann on Hilton Head also, who is passing along once again that now is not the time for visitors to visit his island. They are still hoping that the governor will order a shelter-in-place order for the entire state of South Carolina. The school superintendent told us today that schools will be closed through April 30th. They've been doing some Zoom meetings in Beaufort County schools as well, and 1,000 teachers have been trained about how they're going to navigate this sort of different workflow here, but instruction will continue. We also had some answers about how the testing is going. We heard from representatives from Beaufort Memorial Hospital. It sounds like still there is a 4 to 5 day turnaround for some testing, a 7 to 8 day turnaround for other tests. I don't know if that's the state versus the private results, but they are working, and hopefully in a few weeks' time we'll have the ability to do the tests right there at Beaufort Memorial. We also know PPEs are still in short supply. We know that some of the supplies from the national stockpile have made their way to the Low-Country counties and counties all over South Carolina, but that remains an issue. They're unsure if another shipment of those supplies will be coming. So all of the mayors really were passing on the urgency of the orders that have already been in place, most notably that people observe this social distancing, really trying to hammer home how important that is to flattening the curve. And they also just want to reiterate that, this is a time to take your personal hygiene, be more conscious of what you're doing in that regard. And these are simple things. In a lot of cases, I think what stood out to me was hearing from Mayor Kaiserling of Beaufort, who actually suggested cutting off his signature beard to make the point that we should no longer be touching our faces so much during the day, or at least to raise awareness about how much that habit really does overtake some people. I don't know if there's anybody who's seen the mayor without a beard. It's been quite some time, in fact. But if you would like more updates about what's going on in Bluffton, we can also tell you they did a Facebook Live meeting for residents there, so you can check out their Facebook page for a more in-depth conversation about their response to COVID-19. We are going to send you back to programming, but we will see you on News 3 at 5. Thanks for watching.